My grandpa was worried I'd never find a wife, so he got his old war buddy's granddaughter drunk. After everything went down, Grandpa used that debt to pressure us into marriage. But on our wedding night, I found out she already had someone she loved. 30 years of marriage, and I never once felt like a real husband to her. The moment I died, after all those years of suffering, she moved to the capital with her true love. Now that I have a second chance, I want nothing more to do with Jenny. I went down to the courthouse and filed for a forced divorce. In about 2 weeks, I will finally be free. I got home, cleared out the closet, and had just finished cooking. When Jenny walked in, she was tall and slender, gorgeous features, and she looked most stunning in her uniform. Before we got married, every guy at the base had a crush on her, and last time around, I fell hard for her the moment I saw her. To keep up appearances, I stepped forward to help her take off her coat, but Jenny took a step back, her expression completely blank. My coat is dusty. I do not want to get your hands dirty. Her words were polite enough that you could not fault her for anything, but they were cold and distant. Like, we had not been married for 3 years before I would have pretended not to hear that. I would have reached out anyway, and Jenny would have let me without pushing back again. But those almond-shaped eyes of hers would always fill up with cold and icy disgust. That look cut me deep for 30 years, leaving wounds that never had a chance to heal. But this time, I just gave a small nod, pulled my hand back and went to the kitchen to bring out the food. I made your favorite scrambled eggs, come tell me if they taste right. Jenny set down her coat without any reaction. I told you I eat at the mess hall every night. You do not need to cook for me. It was the same way last time around. 30 years and she never touched a single bite of my cooking. I stayed quiet for a moment, then spoke in a calm but firm voice. I really want you to try it. Just one bite, okay? Because this is the first time, and the last time I want to give myself something to look back on. The moment I finished talking, I saw Jenny's hand at her side clench into a tight fist. Then she said, yes, sir. And something in my chest took a hard hit. Jenny was the regimental commander of the 1st Regiment, and even though I was in a civilian role, my rank was higher than hers. So in our last life, every time I asked Jenny to do something, she would say yes, sir, making it crystal clear. She was doing it because of orders, not because of love. Jenny walked past me with no expression on her face and sat down at the table. A faint familiar scent drifted off her, and I paused. Without thinking, the words just slipped out. You went to see Chloe again today. Nobody knew better than me that scent came from Jenny's childhood sweetheart. It was the soap Chloe always used, and the blank look on Jenny's face vanished in an instant. Her voice went ice cold. You had someone following me. Looking at that sharp and cutting stare, I felt a strange wave of sadness. The words caught in my throat, and I let the silence sit for a moment. Then said quietly, you had a long day, just get some rest. I headed towards the bedroom, but to my surprise, Jenny followed me in. I looked at her confused. What are you doing? Jenny's eyes held a flash of mockery. It is the 15th, you were the one who said to get to bed early. Then it hit me in our last life, Jenny refused to be with me as a husband and wife. So, I had to give her a direct order and locked it in as the 15th of every month. Jenny pushed me down onto the bed, but her words stung like a blade. Does the general know his son pulls stunts like this? My hands behind my back dug hard into my palms. The pain went numb, and the next second I pushed her soft body away. Not tonight, not any night after this either. Jenny stumbled back and stood at the edge of the bed with a slight frown. You better not be playing games with me, she said, then turned and walked out, going into the other room. She shut the door and locked it ever since we got married. Jenny had kept a cot in the study, so we lived like roommates, not spouses. In our last life, I snuck into her bed one night, and after that she started locking the door. Listening to the sound of that lock clicking, I let out a bitter smile. Do not worry, Jenny. I am done making a fool of myself. I turned off the light, rolled over, and fell into a deep sleep the next morning. I was slammed with work at the base. Around noon, a messenger came to find me and said my father, General Lee, wanted to see me. I walked in and found Jenny already standing inside. General Lee did not look up. Take a seat. How have you two been lately? I glanced over at Jenny and out of habit put on a good face. Dad, we are doing just fine. But General Lee suddenly lifted his head. His gaze fixed heavily on Jenny. I heard Jenny has been visiting a medic at the infirmary pretty regularly lately. Is that true? Jenny's expression went sharp. Her hand at her side tightened into a fist. The office fell into a thick silence. Jenny lowered her eyes and was just about to speak when she heard me say with a smile, that was my idea. Jenny froze. Her eyes landed on me full of surprise. I kept my expression easy. That medic Chloe lost both her parents and never settled down. She is out there on her own. And I asked Jenny to drop some things off for me. It was my oversight. I did not think it would stir up this kind of gossip. General Lee went quiet for a moment. Whether he believed it, I could not tell. He set his pen down with a thud and stood up. Let us grab lunch together, come on. Let us head to the mess hall. Jenny gave me a long look, but I did not meet her eyes. I just needed things to stay clean before the divorce, before I sorted things out with my father. No extra complications would ever happen between Jenny and me. Should never be allowed to affect my father's reputation. We ate lunch without much talking, and split off to our own business after that. By evening, I did not go looking for Jenny like I used to. I clocked out alone and went home and started clearing things out again. Standing in the living room, my eyes landed on the 2 little ceramic figurines sitting on top of the TV stand. A sudden wave of feeling came over me. I remember it clearly. I bought those when Jenny and I first got married. I even brought them home all proud, showing them off to her. And she looked at them like they were the most embarrassing things she had ever seen. These are for little kids. Why would you buy something like that? But after Chloe came back, Jenny went out and bought a whole bunch of the exact same ones and gave them to her. I swallowed it down and tossed the figurines into a canvas bag, then kept throwing in other things that did not matter. After sweeping through every corner of the place, I lifted the bag and was struck by how light it was. 3 years of marriage, and the two of us had almost nothing to show for it together. I walked outside and tossed the whole bag into the trash truck and was just about to head back in when I heard a car engine cut off outside, followed by a familiar voice reaching my ears. Jenny, after being forced to marry Alex for 3 whole years. Have you really never felt anything for him at all? I paused, and there she was, Jenny in uniform standing next to Chloe, dressed in a blue work jacket. Then Jenny's cold, clear voice rang out, I swear on my life. I will never fall in love with him, and if I do, I deserve the worst. The color drained from my face in an instant, but I just stood there still and quiet. Because in our last life, I watched with my own eyes as Jenny gave Chloe everything. When Chloe was upset, Jenny would speak to her in the softest voice. When Chloe was angry, Jenny would smile and coax her back. When Chloe ran a fever, Jenny would stay up the whole night watching over her. So having lived through it all, I understood more than anyone that if it were not for me, Jenny and Chloe were two people genuinely in love, who could have had something beautiful. A perfect match growing old together. This time around, I refused to be the villain who tore them apart. I turned and sat down at the table, poured myself a glass of liquor. But Jenny came back sooner than I expected. She paid no mind to the drink in front of me and spoke flatly. Since when did you start eavesdropping? I was caught off guard. But I let the dig slide and took a small sip. I smirked a little. Why bother making such a serious vow? Jenny's face stayed cold. Only breaking a vow deserves punishment from heaven. That way, you know for certain, I will never fall for you. Even though I had already made up my mind to let go. Hearing those words still hit like a knife straight into my chest. My throat filled with a sharp metallic taste. I gripped my glass and after a long moment, I lifted it and drank it all down, then said, "Good, then when the divorce papers go through, when I am gone, at least Jenny will not be sad about it." Jenny frowned. She found something off about what I said, but she did not read into it. She turned and headed to the bedroom, but stopped in her tracks when she spotted the sky blue shirt in the trash can. Was that not your favorite shirt? I did not expect Jenny to remember that I looked at her calmly. No real feeling in my eyes, I tossed out a casual lie. "Do not like it anymore, so I got rid of it." Jenny asked nothing more. She walked straight into the house, and I headed back to the bedroom too. Somewhere along the way outside, it started to rain. The sound of the rain put me to sleep quickly, but then a massive crack of thunder lit up the sky, and I shot straight up out of bed. Both hands clenched tight around the front of my shirt, gasping for air. When I was 10 years old, my mom died in a car accident on a night just like this with thunder and pouring rain. Ever since that day, the sound of thunder has terrified me. It would jolt me awake even in my sleep. After we got married, every time a storm rolled in, I would go find Jenny. But that door never once opened for me. The thunder kept coming one crack after another. It was a full half hour before the storm finally passed, and I was able to stop shaking. I turned on the light and went to get a glass of water, walking through the living room. I noticed the front door was wide open. I stepped outside. The door to Chloe's place next door was left slightly ajar too. I moved closer and peeked through the gap, and saw Jenny gently holding Chloe close, the tenderness and care written all over her face. An expression she had never once shown because of me. I looked away after just one glance and walked back home. Back in my bedroom, even I was a little surprised. My heart felt completely still. Maybe I had just gotten used to it. But sleep would not come anymore. I stared up at the ceiling, then got up again, put on my coat, and walked outside to the backyard under the banyan tree. I crouched down and dug into the dirt for a long time, until I finally pulled out a glass bottle crusted with soil. The bottle was packed with little paper stars I had made from folded notes. It was something I insisted Jenny help me bury the day we got married. Every note inside was filled with my feelings for her and my hopes for our life together. Back then, I was so sure I could make Jenny fall in love with me, but the life we lived gave me a brutal reality check. I opened the bottle and poured all the little notes out, unfolded them one by one, then flicked on my lighter, and burned them one by one. I found the girl of my dreams. Her name is Jenny. One day I am going to make her my wife. Jenny agreed to marry me. I am finally going to be with her for real. I was so happy I could not sleep all night. Jenny seems a little distant toward me, but that is okay. I know I will get her to fall for me. I watched the flames and the ash, what had once been the dreams of a young kid, now felt calm as still water. Then suddenly Jenny's voice came from behind me. It is the middle of the night. "What are you burning out here?" My eyelashes trembled, but my hands kept moving. I dropped the last note into the fire, watched the ash get lifted by the wind, and slowly stood up. Just some junk that did not matter anymore. Jenny glanced at the glass bottle, like it seemed vaguely familiar, but I could tell right away. She had no idea what that bottle once held. Jenny did not dwell on it, and looked away. Chloe had a nightmare, and on top of that, the thunder. She got really scared, so I came over to check on her. Do not read anything into it, and do not give her a hard time. I let out a quiet smirk. Even now she was still looking out for Chloe. That kind of love is something to be envied. I would not dare. I tossed the empty bottle aside and walked back inside. A moment later, Jenny followed. We each went to our own rooms, living separate dreams. A few quiet days passed, and the day I was set to leave was only 10 days away. That morning, I had just arrived at the base when a soldier came up to me, gave me a friendly pat on the shoulder. "Hey Alex, good timing, little Wu from the Inspector General's office is getting married. He is handing out candy. Come on, let us go celebrate." It came back to me from my last life. I remembered Wu was marrying a company commander from the base. We stopped by the office for candy, and Wu invited everyone to come to the lunch banquet. The wedding was held at a restaurant packed with people there to congratulate them. I spotted Jenny right away. Surrounded in the crowd, she was the groom's superior officer. It was only right that she was there to offer her congratulations. I did not look too long, and started chatting with my coworkers. I am not sure how much time passed, when a loud voice suddenly rang out from across the room. "Hey, Commander Jenny, you still got duty today, can you even drink?" Jenny's voice came back cool, and even I took the day off. Then that same person called out again. "Hey, Commander Jenny, Chloe volunteered to take drinks for the groom. She has only had one glass, and you are already jumping in to cover her. You act more like her man than his wife does." I paused and looked over. There was Jenny holding up a completely wasted Chloe, the guy who said it was already passed out on the table. Snoring away, the lively restaurant went dead silent for a beat. Every single person turned to look at me. The guy next to me gave my arm a gentle tug. "Hey Alex, do not take that to heart. He is just drunk." Jenny frowned too, and set the unsteady Chloe down into a chair. It looked like she was about to walk over and explain herself to me, but before she could take a step, I smiled and spoke up. "I know it was just a joke. I am not going to sweat it."